We're going to take a journey this morning. It is a journey of opposites. Our teacher will be a leading tempter. His name is Screwtape. As a master tempter, he'll be teaching you, a class of inexperienced tempters, how to destroy the prayer lives of human beings, Christians in particular. Understand that when Screwtape talks about things that are good, those things are generally bad. And when he thinks things are bad, those things are generally good. His chief enemy is the one and only living God of the universe. Screwtape's allegiance is with everything that wars against that God. Since you are weak and anemic tempters, the screens will provide supplemental information to help you in your learning. And so it is my privilege to present the dishonorable Screwtape.
This is a yardstick. It's a human instrument of measurement. It's quite a handy tool. You see, with it, a human can accurately measure the distance between two locations. Place it end to end to come up with, say, the length of this room. And even if a human doesn't have one of these yardsticks, they've seen so many of them that they can accurately guess how far it is between 2 points. This simple and amazing tool is responsible for amazing successes, even the very construction of this room. This room could not have been built without this or some form of measuring device. So, you have come to this class to learn about measuring sticks? Yes, but not this kind of measuring stick. What I have in store for you is infinitely more terrifying. This is, you see, a class that does not focus on building up, but the focus will be on tearing down. Yea, verily, our goal is to confuse, to destroy the measuring stick of the enemy. You see, our enemy is not in the business of building rooms. He is in the business of building his kingdom. We are interested in destroying that. The enemy uses several of these measuring sticks in the building of his pathetic kingdom. His instruction manual for the humans is littered with them. The class you now find yourselves in is entitled Prayer 101. It's a basic course in foundational warfare with the enemy. But don't be fooled. Just because it's the first course in warfare against prayer does not mean it's the easiest course in warfare against prayer. On the contrary, this is the most difficult course you will ever take at the academy for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you don't get this right, nothing else at the academy will matter. The human's prayer is their most effective weapon against us. Neutralize it and we win. And number 2, this is the most difficult course at the academy because I am teaching it. And my goal is to flunk all of you and prove once and for all that you are bottom feeders. Any questions? Good. Moving on. Without any further ado, let's unveil the enemy's measuring stick for prayer. What I am about to show you is nothing short of horrific. I'm warning you. Some of you will not survive this. Let's dive in, shall we? These are the words of the enemy. This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. This is the enemy's measuring stick for prayer. It is his standard by which other prayers are compared. And this, my students, is not the worst of it. In its context, the enemy compared this to the kind of true devotion offered before it in the same instruction manual. He had the audacity to put down our work. We've worked for generations to build a true sense of identification with that which is religious. And what does he do? He calls our work hypocritical. Just look at what he says. Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. If you do, you'll have no reward from your Father in heaven. So, when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then, your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Our R&D teams worked for years to perfect the art of looking religious while in public. And in one fell swoop, the enemy belittles all of it. And just look at what else he says. And when you pray, do not be like one of the hypocrites. They love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen. I tell you the truth, they've received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep babbling like pagans. I would submit that 3 babbling pagans are infinitely more interesting than any army of praying saints. But he continues, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Don't be like them. For your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Today, class, we are going to tear apart the enemy's measuring stick for prayer. One phrase at a time until you have all learned what you need to know to confuse it, to damage it, to make the human doubt it, to destroy it. In its most basic form, the enemy's prayer says this: He is God and they are not. Most fundamentally, the enemy's prayer is broken down into 2 parts. Number 1, the humans are to glorify God. And number 2, the humans are to rely on God for their needs. Our task, quite simply, is number 1, don't let the humans glorify God. And number 2, don't let the humans rely on God for their needs. It's elementary. Discover what they are to do and keep them from doing it. Find out what they need and deprive them of it. A junior tempter with proper training can do this. A master tempter who cavalierly ignores the fundamentals will fail. Let's begin. Our Father in heaven. Ugh! All right, at the beginning, we can see that the enemy's measuring stick for prayer begins with the most repugnant of thoughts. He teaches the little beasts that they are to identify him as their Father. Remember that at its most basic form, the enemy's prayer is that he is God and they are not. Despite this huge difference between who he is and whom they are, as created vermin, he wants them to call him, hold your stomachs, Daddy. For that is more nearly the meaning of this word. Let me give you the full force of what is understood here. Our Daddy, who is bigger than all things put together. Our Daddy, who is in control of every single thing. Our Daddy, who has provided for our complete and total forgiveness so we can enjoy his intimacy and confidence. Now, there's a plethora of ways of confusing this issue. Remember, the basic premise is that he is God and they are not. So, twist it just a shade. He is God and they are too. That one has been especially effective in Hollywood. Or maybe, they're not God, he's not God, and they are. That one has worked very well in many philosophy departments and university settings. Or maybe, he is not God, and they are not gods either. This one is my personal favorite. It has provided more hopelessness than any other single thing. The reason it is so grand is that very few people admit to believing it. Nonetheless, it is the quiet admission of many hearts during the dark hours of the soul. Moving on to the meat of our lesson. Don't let the humans glorify God. When the enemy says in his yardstick for prayer, "Hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven," he is showing the human Christians that they are to glorify him. In fact, they are to worship him. And the terrible truth is, they were built for worship. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, will be to confuse their worship. You see, they can't help it. They must worship something. If it's not the enemy, then it's us. If it's not us, then it's themselves. If it's not themselves, then it's some other person, place, thing, or activity. In fact, one delightful little joke to play on the Christians is to get them to worship instead of the enemy. Now, get them all tangled up in their preferences so that when they gather to worship, the likelihood of their actually focusing on the enemy is very low indeed. Keep their focus off of the enemy and on to lesser things. Keep them focused on musical styles, kinds of instruments used. In the good old days, we were able to steal a great deal of their zest in worship, jading them towards new and different musical instruments and styles. It took them almost 200 years to get over the introduction of the organ in worship. Now it has taken just 2 decades to get over the electric guitar. But at any rate, keep their attention on the elements of their worship services. Keep them thinking it's too loud, too soft, too celebrative, too contemplative, too new, too old, too borrowed, too bold. Keep them on anything that is peripheral to the real issue. Whatever you do, do not let the humans glorify God. Do not let them make an authentic, heartfelt connection that marries the mind and the will as expressed selflessly to the enemy. Now then, there are 3 key points to keeping the humans from glorifying the enemy in prayer. We see that the enemy's model prayer reads, "Hallowed be your name." Don't let the humans remember who they are and who the enemy is. Hallowed refers to the natural state of the enemy. It's what he calls holiness. It's that state that is his alone, that we have never been able to pervert. You see, despite thousands of years of our R&D department's efforts, we've never been able to create one blasted thing, not holiness, and in fact not even so much as a single hockey puck. But therefore, our expertise has been to develop the art of what the enemy calls perversion. He creates, we twist. He makes pure, we make impure. He makes light, we try to change environments so that they are void of light. We think he is arrogant because he alone has the ability to make something out of nothing. He thinks we are parasites because we suck the essence out of the many so-called good things he creates. When the humans pray, "Hallowed be your name," they are not praying for the enemy to be holy. He already is. They are, in fact, reminding themselves that he is holy and therefore to be treated with complete respect. The enemy fully expects that his humans look like him in how they think, talk, and act. Since he is holy, he expects them to be holy. The beautiful thing is that the enemy is holy, but the basic nature of humans is not. Their nature is really quite like our own. Remember, the goal is don't let the humans glorify God. The great way is to confuse them about who they are and who the enemy is. Give them an identity crisis and make the enemy, the one they call God, look like an old buffoon in a cardigan who smells of mothballs. Plant thoughts of doubt in their small brains such that they will wonder if the enemy really loves them. Does he really care for them? Does he really have all strength and power? Or is he more like a confused grandpa? If he really loved them, for instance, why do humans suffer so on the earth? Capitalize on the problem of pain. Let pain so chisel away at their weak and spindly faith that they end up blaming the enemy for the very freedoms they have. Let them also think that their own way of doing things is far better than trusting the enemy's instruction manual. They will end up in such a tailspin that you can literally spend months sustaining them in this despair. Let me tell you, that's living. Now, the second way of keeping the humans from glorifying God is this. Don't let them create the hope of a fantasy life based on the enemy's alleged coming kingdom. The enemy did teach them to pray, "Your kingdom come," speaking of his own kingdom. Now, this is a kingdom that is already here but not yet complete. It is your basic fixer-upper. It is not a kingdom contained within borders. It's a kingdom contained within people. Supposedly, there are plans for the enemy to build a great palace and build a new heaven and a new earth, and there will be no more sickness or death. Every one of his humans and everything will be perfect. It will be the end of both static cling and hot dogs. Now, the best way to pervert this "may your kingdom come" business is to strike at the hope contained within it. Instead of the kingdom being something the humans yearn for, make it something to be avoided, like a head cold. Make the kingdom seem what they call good, and make goodness seem boring. Make what they call bad seem exciting. Build this properly, and you can instill a lifestyle of one exciting thing after the next, while simultaneously helping the human to avoid boredom. No one wants to inherit an ice cream parlor that only serves vanilla. So too, no one wants to be a part of a dull and lifeless kingdom. While we have no ability to change the nature of the enemy's kingdom, we can at least try to sell it as something that it's not. And the humans are very glad to buy it. So in review, don't let the humans glorify God. We do this by messing with their memories, so that they have trouble correctly remembering who they are, miserable little beasts in need of the enemy, and who he is, the Creator to whom they owe everything. We can also stop their God-glorifying behavior by cheapening any hope they have in the enemy's kingdom, such as it is. There is one more way of discouraging them from glorifying God. That is, don't let them think that there is any will but their own. The enemy teaches them they are to pray, "Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." They are speaking of the enemy's will. Well, it's difficult to know exactly what the enemy wants when he tells the humans to pray this. It seems he wants a match between the way business is done on earth and the way it's done in heaven, and he wants it his way. This is not open for discussion. We've tried talking with him about this very issue, and he simply will not listen. At the end of history, if that ever comes, he wants there to be a moral congruency and willing participation of all involved that will lead both places, heaven and earth, to one destination: the realization of his will. Period. He honestly thinks that's best. Oh dear, I've lost my place. Don't laugh at me. At the end of history, our advantage would be to send the humans out. But he has sent them out already with a will, fully equipped, a free will entirely of their own. And the humans know they have their own will. Your job is to convince them that the only will out there is their own. Now, should they learn that theirs is not the only will out there, that there are others who want things too, that will be bad. The enemy, of course, has the ultimate will, but make sure each one thinks theirs is the only will that matters. It's not difficult. A self-centered view is the most natural view the humans know. Whatever you do, don't let them see the advantages of the enemy's will. If they do catch a glimpse of his will, follow it up with the notion that it will cost far too much for the human to make a lifestyle of it. Make it seem inconvenient, out of style, uninformed. Do what you can to make the enemy look like the God who just doesn't understand. So, in In review, don't let the humans glorify God. Don't let them remember who they are and who the enemy is. Don't let them place hope in his kingdom, and don't let them think there is any will but their own. But that's just the first half. Let's get practical, shall we? Point 2 is this. Don't let the humans rely on God for their needs. Instead of focusing on their needs, encourage them to focus on their greeds. Confuse the line between what they want and what they need. If your subject is a poor person, say from a third world country, this is a more difficult thing to do. But if your subject is from a wealthy land, say Colorado, and lives in the suburbs, it will be very easy. God has promised to provide for their needs in exchange for their dependence upon Him. The juicy part comes when we are able to subtly move beyond the boundaries of what is needed and supplied by the enemy and into the realm of what is merely desired and expected from the enemy. You know you've scored. You've put the ball through the net when the human moves from being grateful to feeling entitled. It's time for the happy dance. Are you ready? Churn the butter, roll the boat. Join me. Churn the butter, roll. You'll get it later. Once again, the enemy betrays his own plans for praying his way as we will take it and do the opposite. Again, this is what his prayer says. Give us today our daily bread. In other words, please provide for our daily needs. And forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. Translation, please forgive us for our sins of the past and the present. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Which means protect us from doing what we do best. Sinning. The humans have needs for daily provision as well as for right relationships. Sin is what damages their relationships. Keep in mind, the enemy wants them to understand that he is God and they are not. The trick is to get them to rely not on the enemy, but on someone or something else for their physical and relational needs. So, do not let the humans rely on God for their daily physical needs. When the humans pray, give us today our daily bread, they are most certainly asking for more than just bread. Bread is a loaded word that the enemy intends to mean, give us what we need to survive, both today, perhaps for tomorrow. The enemy is no simpleton. When he says, give us today our daily bread, he's not unintentionally repeating himself because he suffered from a poor education. He's emphasizing that daily needs are just that, daily. The enemy originally spoke these words to his closest followers during a how-to session. The context of these followers' lives was that of needing to live hand to mouth. They had no way of storing food long term. They had no insurance companies to put things back the way they were. They lacked the humans' modern medicine. They lacked the humans' modern everything. It is this point you must exploit. For you see, today's humans, at least the wealthy ones, benefit from goodies. They have stores from which to purchase all kinds of yummy food. They have a government to make sure the food is safe. They have refrigerators to keep their food cold. They have the stoves and the microwaves to keep the food hot. They have all kinds of technology to make life easier. When the enemy instructs them to pray for their daily needs on a daily basis, he's asking them to do something they're not in the habit of doing. He's asking them to rely on him one day at a time. The challenge for the enemy is that modern rich humans don't make plans a day at a time. They make plans a month or a year at a time. They don't need to consciously rely on the enemy for daily needs. They have capitalized on this illusion, and we've been able to spur it along, that they are really quite independent. And as we all know, independence is the highest of all virtues. Keep the humans' focus off of the enemy as the daily source of their needs. Speaking of needs, Your job is to grow the needs list. Don't do it too quickly or the humans will realize they're being selfish. Don't do it too extravagantly or the humans' in-laws will point it out to them. Remember, everything in subtle moderation. It's easy to turn the needs list into the greeds list because, as discussed, the wealthy humans have little or no concept of what they actually need today. Since they think their needs are within their own reach, they no longer need to rely on the enemy. Instead, encourage them to take their greeds list to the enemy. For the enemy will not give this list the attention of the actual needs list. And the humans will conclude that the enemy does not answer prayer at all. Remember, do not let the humans rely on God for their daily physical needs. Also, don't let the humans forgive. Don't let them do relationships the enemy's way. The enemy's measuring stick for prayer instructs them to do this. Forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. Well, the humans have a marvelous way of harming one another with their motives, thoughts, words, actions, and fists. While we would love to take much of the credit for this, alas, they have proven very effective at hurting one another entirely on their own. This is what the enemy refers to as debts. Elsewhere in his instruction manual, he calls it sin. The humans are supposed to ask God to forgive their sins, which he faithfully does. Then in turn, they are supposed to forgive the sins of others committed against them, which they typically struggle with. When they ask for forgiveness of sins from the enemy, it's important to point out that the enemy's blasted son has already taken care of the removal of guilt for the sin. What in fact the humans are asking for is restoration of fellowship, so that the relationship can go on without harm. It's also a commitment on the part of the humans to avoid what strained the camaraderie in the first place. The enemy insists on complete openness in his relationships. He has nothing to hide and he wants the humans to live the same way. The rub is that it's infinitely easier for him to restore them to fellowship, no strings attached, than it is for the humans to ask for forgiveness. That's where you come in. We don't want the humans to rely on God for their needs, physically or relationally. Help them to avoid the very thing they want to dodge anyway, an admission of their own sin. We want their fellowship with the enemy to be strained. Perpetuate broken fellowship with the enemy by teaching them new words. Add terms to their vocabulary like mistake, oversight, stumble, stretch. A master tempter can make his subject not only tolerant of his own sin, but comfortable with it. Indeed, the enemy is so connected in relationship with his humans that he insists that they forgive others' offenses against them in order for the reconciliation with him to take place. It's not so much a matter of proper sequence as it is simply living sincerely. Your job is to help the humans nurse a grudge. Don't let the human subject be reminded that forgiveness is as much an emotional and relational benefit for the forgiver as it is for the forgiven. Don't let humans forgive. Lastly, don't let them feel secure. The enemy taught them to pray, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. The concern on the human's part is not that the enemy will tempt them to do evil. That's not something he can do. He can, on the other hand, test his humans to prove their worth as his children and mature them so they would rely on him more completely and consistently. Such tests are not to be feared by the humans, but welcomed as an opportunity to see God's power at work in their feeble and wimpy lives. Now, one would think they would be honored to be a part of such a display of the enemy's supernatural power, but in fact, the opposite is true. They prefer to be left alone, desiring that the enemy accomplish his purposes through someone else. The enemy, who does not have a plan B, continues to challenge and change his humans, and in so doing, he tends to transform each aspect of their pitiful lives into worship. Your challenge as novice tempters will be to use the enemy's opportunity for testing as your own opportunity for trial. The enemy seeks to prove his creature's worth. You will seek to prove their worthlessness. He has equipped them to win in every single circumstance in life. Your job is to make them feel helpless. Make them underestimate the enemy's strength to win through them. Remind them of past failures. Encourage them to feel badly about their sin. Tell them that they must feel badly enough. But be sure you don't tell them how wrong that is. Empower them to be powerless. Teach them to focus on the mountains instead of the mountain mover. And most dastardly of all, he teaches them to pray, ask for deliverance from the evil one. That's us. You see, we do our best work, our lasting work, when we go unnoticed. He did us no favor by including us in his model prayer. There are millions of copies of that thing in hundreds of languages littered all over the globe. Just don't draw attention to yourselves or it will ruin everything. This is the enemy's measuring stick for prayer. It reminds them that he is God and they are not. Bear in mind that which they glorify and that which they rely upon becomes their God. Don't let the humans glorify God. Don't let them rely on him. Oh, and by the way, I saved the best part for last. The enemy hates it when his people pray inauthentic prayers. Stained glass vocal inflections don't fool the enemy. He can read the hearts of humans when they pray. He wants them to pray when they're together. He wants them to pray when they're alone. And he knows if there is a connection between their words and their lives. He wants their prayers to be genuine, constant, simple, brief. He is God. They are not. You'll all be tested comprehensively over these materials the next time we meet. You will all fail. Have a nice day.